Hi, Ginger. David Cunningham calling in. How are you?
I'm good. I'm so glad to talk to you. I actually watched the movie last night, so I was hoping to watch it before we talk, so I could, ask the questions, but know why I was asking the questions. Um,
Sure.
so like it before I get to how I feel about it, I thought I would ask, can you give a little background on yourself because some of our listeners won't know exactly who you are. They may know some of the things you've done, but they may not connect that. That happens to directors and producers. Sometimes they don't connect who's done what film. So tell us like what your upbringing was, because I know that has a big influence on this movie.
Yeah, thank you for having me, Ginger. I really appreciate it. I've got this amazing legacy of seven generations of missionaries and ministers on one side of my family and four on the other. As some examples, my great-grandfather started 13 churches out of a covered wagon in the territory of Oklahoma.
Oh my
He and,
goodness.
my grandmother and their siblings would build brick by brick, make their own mud brick structures for churches across that territory. My great uncle was a POW in World War II at the hands of the Japanese because he stayed with his Chinese congregation and sent his pregnant wife back home on the last Red Cross ship and stayed there in the prison as a POW through the whole war. My grandmother was the first ordained woman minister in her denomination, and my parents started an interdenominational organization called YLAM, or Youth for Mission. So I grew up traveling the world and seeing an amazing world, but also a very hurting and broken world, and some incredible people just giving their lives to make a difference. And so I grew up with that perspective, but as a young man, I had this passion and heart to be a filmmaker. And I went to my folks and said, I think this is my calling, and I hadn't been around any of that entertainment industry. I didn't have really any models to point at, but I had this dream, and I really felt it was from the Lord. And my dad initially asked, well, so do you mean like Billy Graham movies, David? And I said, no, I think it's like Hollywood movies. And what I would say today is that I have a calling to popular culture. And I want to engage in popular culture. I don't want to be on the sidelines and be one of those people that are just talking about all the stuff that is so undermining and that we can't support and we don't believe in. But I want to get in there and make a difference. And that's what this film, Running for Grace, hopefully is a part of.
And the movie, I mean, I think it was great casting. The little boy that plays in the beginning. I mean, I want to take him home so bad. Like he's so adorable and endearing, and so it starts off from the beginning. That little boy grabs your heart. Like you immediately want to be on his side, no matter what the kid's doing. Um, and then I think Matt Dillon did a really great job, you know, playing the guy, kind of raising him up. And but your mate, is it Ryan Potter that plays him as a grown up, the young child? That's Ryan Potter, correct?
Yes,
Yeah, I
yes,
mean he's
yeah,
fantastic. He's
yeah.
very endearing as well.
We were really blessed to have an amazing cast. And just for a little context for your listeners, um, this was set in the 1920s Hawaii during a time of segregation. And there was a federal law at the time. There was a law about social integrity where it was illegal to adopt children of mixed ethnicity. So this is a story about an orphan boy who's illegitimate, who's half Japanese, half Caucasian, and he's rejected by both communities, the Caucasian community and the Japanese community, the coffee picker immigrants. And a doctor comes to town, played by Matt Dillon, and takes the boy under his wing and ends up becoming a de facto fatherly figure for the boy. And there's themes of romance and adventure, and really this is about the power of adoption, about the power of belonging, and what one person, what a huge difference one person can make, a mentor can make in your life. And when you have a dream, and a lot of people are telling me that that's impossible, that you, those few folks that are in your corner, maybe it's just one that will encourage you and cheer you on, and as you pursue and have tenacity. And I believe as you pursue and with tenacity your dream, that the Lord will provide the grace for you to get there.
I thought it was very beautiful. I love the romance was almost of Pride and Prejudice level because it was very subdued. It was more romantic tension. It wasn't about, you know, the embraces and the holding hands and the kissing. It was about the subtle glances and things like that. I'm in love with movies, so I notice every little thing. I'm probably maybe a little overindulgent in movies. But I just like the first time they lock eyes, or there's just these like some subtle little things that, it's like that's it. It's like Mr. Darcy, helping her into a carriage. It's that kind of stuff that, it builds throughout the movie in the background the whole time. And I don't know how you made Ryan look like he was running that fast, or if he can really run that fast, but man, was he.
Yeah.
Oh, he was like, it was funny because it didn't look like he would sped him up. If you did, I can't tell.
Ryan's a real athlete. He's a black belt in martial arts, and he's an amazing athlete. And he did all that himself, did all his own stunts, and he would have to ice down his legs every night because we had a, when you make a movie, you have to do multiple takes back and forth and so on. But just to comment on what you've noticed, and I always so appreciate fans of film when they pick up the little things, because oftentimes those little things are the hardest thing to capture and get. But yeah, I wanted to have a theme of romance be a strong part of the plot, but I wanted it to be out of a real pure place, out of an innocent place. And so much today, out there is when you get into a romantic film, it becomes more about lust and pursuit, and we forget about kind of puppy love, and that there is a form of love out there that's just absolutely beautiful, and we need to celebrate that with young people today. And so that's what we attempted to do.
And I think in the way that you made the romance part of this story, but because of its subtleties, like it didn't overshadow the racial issues or the other issues that you were putting in the forefront. It didn't become a romance film. It became a complicated story. It was a coming of age, but it was also about racial inequality and racial prejudice, and then also about the importance of family and adoption. It had all these elements to it, and you played a well balanced that nothing seemed to truly overshadow one. That you were able to kind of grasp all the main concepts without one running the film by itself, without it running it away. I will tell you one thing that really ran your film is the cinematography, like the landscapes, like that was gorgeous. I mean, part of the time I was just lost in the B-roll, like just watching the landscape of the land. Like it was so gorgeous. So tell us about how did you shoot that, and where is it shot?
Sure, yeah, I had an amazing cinematographer from Greece named Akis, and this is I live in Hawaii, raising my kids there, and we have a studio there, and this is my third movie to make in Hawaii, and we shot this on Hawaii Island, the Big Island, or also known as Volcano Island, as we've had some volcano activity lately, you may have heard about.
Yeah.
And which actually plays a part in our movie. And we shot this, throughout the Big Island, and I wanted to bring the audience to places and a time in a way that perhaps they weren't aware of. And many people perceive and know that Hawaii is a beautiful place, but there's so many beautiful aspects. You know, on Hawaii Island is 11 of the 13 climate zones. We have snow on our mountains at times. We have desert. We have jungle. We have, of course, beaches. And so I wanted to bring the audience to some of these places that perhaps they have never seen before. And there was many places in this movie that have never been filmed. And then I thought it was an interesting period in the 1920s when immigration was largely from Japan, and it was the time of the coffee industry, and everybody, many people know Kona coffee. So this is the setting of and the origins of Kona coffee in that whole industry. And so I hope that it's a rich experience for folks that enjoy not only visuals, but being swept back in time, and a film that the whole family can watch.
And I like, now from what I read, you had an idea for hopefully filming one part where there's like volcanic like action going on, and there's like this fog that rolls in, but you really actually got that, correct?
Yeah, we were filming in this beautiful sunny clear day, and it was a whole nother scene, and the winds changed, and this white blanket rolled in, which was a whole nother scene in our movie. We call it VOG, VOG, and we've had quite a bit of it lately, and thankfully the volcano is now starting to die out, so we get a lot less of it. But it sweeps in much like fog. And here it came, and with just a few minutes, we had it changed to a whole other scene. Grabbed the actors, and Matt Dillon and Jim Caviezel and Ryan Potter, and we had to shuffle everything around, and within a few minutes, we were filming the scene. And when you watch the movie and see those scenes, there's no visual effects in that. That was all the real deal. So sometimes, you score, and sometimes you don't when you're filmmaking.
Well, that's, play on words. Well, and so, I want to know how you got Jim Caviezel and Matt Dillon involved. And I will tell you that this is one of the first times I've really disliked Jim Caviezel. Like I've always just genuinely liked him. He's been in some of the most subtle like roles where so he can be so quiet and be in the background, but yet you still notice everything about him. But I just didn't like him. I mean, from the second I saw his face, I was like, yeah, I already don't like him. But
he plays like villain that you love to hate,
normally Matt Dillon plays that guy. Like you got him, and Jim plays the good guy. Yeah.
Yeah, kind of mixed it up a little bit there, but really it comes down to two key things to attract actors at their caliber, and that's does the script resonate with them, and can they trust the director? And I was blessed enough that they did in both those cases, and they had been fans of some of my other films that I've made, and so it was a real privilege to direct them, and the whole cast. We had an amazing cast. You mentioned earlier younger Joe, the little boy Cole, who was just a little guy, I don't know, 7 years old or something, and he went toe to toe with Academy nominated Matt Dillon, and this is his very first film, and he's just such a sweet kid, and as you say, you just kind of want to take him home.
Oh my!
So, yeah, we really scored with our cast.
Yeah, and I love the title. I didn't realize. I thought running for grace meant the biblical grace until I realized who Grace was. And then I was like, well, that makes it even more cool because it's a double meaning, because it really is. I just I thought it was so powerful, like I said, because I just noticed all these little tiny things about it that I think it adds up to no matter how old you are, no matter where you're from. I think everybody can relate to something or somebody in this film. And I think that's what makes it great when you can make it kind of relatable to many different audiences like that, where families can watch it together and, discuss the aspects and topics that are in the background of your story. I think that's incredible. I think anybody who wants to watch movies as a family, it's completely a family movie, or it's also a date movie. It's good for couples to go see too. But I think it's an all generational movie. Did you intend to make it kind of a cross audience kind of thing, where it even crosses Christian and secular lines? I think no matter who you are, it doesn't have a preachy theme or anything. So although that beautiful element is there, there's nothing to scare people away from like inviting everybody to watch it.
Yeah, yeah. I've got 3 kids, and we often wrestle over the remote. And it's what, and my girls want to watch a romance movie, and my son wants to watch an action movie, and I really like period movies going back in time. Maybe my wife wants to watch a chick flick, so to speak. She hates it when I say that, but anyway. And I wanted to create a movie that we all wanted to watch, and not just because it's kind of quote good for you, but we wanted to watch this film. And so that was my intent from the very beginning, to set out to bring those themes out: romance and action, adventure, another time, another place. And one of the key themes that has just kind of bubbled up is the power of adoption. And we've been doing red carpet benefit screenings across the country. We've done 9 so far. We're doing 3 more this weekend, where we are honoring families that have adopted. And they walk the red carpet and take pictures with the movie stars, and we just love on them and bless them and celebrate them and what they've done and are doing. Because when one family adopts, it doesn't just change the life of that child and that family; it changes the community, and it's transformational. And so we're doing that. We're also doing that in the digital expression of this movie, where you can gift the film, a digital download copy, to an adopted family, and we have ways on our website that can demonstrate that you can do that.
That's
Ginger, I had a siren go by. Did that bother you? You want me to repeat that again?
What was in the background?
A fire truck just went flying by where I'm at. So I don't know if you heard that.
I didn't even hear it, actually.
Okay. Well, I'll just pick that last part up.
Okay.
So in addition to the red carpet benefit premieres that we're doing at the theaters, we're also taking that same expression and that same spirit in the digital downloads on iTunes, where you can gift a copy of the film to an adopted family. And you can go to our website, runningforgracemovie.com, and see where it's playing in theaters, and also how you can download it, and also how you can gift it.
I think that should be something that every faith-based film should be able to do, is give people that option, because if they could gift them to families like all over the world, like regardless of who it goes to, you think about it, some people just can't afford it or they won't give it a chance, but almost everybody will try a free movie. Like that would be an incredible thing to do. There's a lot of times where I want to gift a movie to somebody and I have to like buy the DVD copy and then mail it from a post office other than my own, and not like put a return address on it. Like, you really kind of can't just gift it to people you don't know. Or we do giveaways on our like station and stuff, but to be able to gift them to people that really want, like are involved in adoption like that would love a copy, and you just never know what movies are just so powerful. It's like music. It speaks where people's hearts that they don't know the words to say yet. They don't know what words they want to hear. They don't know what they don't know how to express it, but they can watch a movie or share a movie with somebody, and it's just it can take them to a completely different place. You get to escape for a couple hours. That's why I fell in love with movies, is I had a really good single mom, but I had a kind of tumultuous thing with my dad, and like I could go to the movies and for at least 2 hours, like none of it existed. I would
Yeah,
go to another place. I love that
yeah,
your movie does that. You bring us to Hawaii with you, and it felt like the whole time, like I when the movie ended, I was like, oh, like okay, now I'm back in Michigan. Like I'm like it had that great effect of like every time I'm watching a scene, I'm involved in the dialogue, but I still can't not look at how beautiful the greenery is around them or the flowers. It's kind of hard not to notice that beauty
yeah.
around it as well. So, what is next for you after this?
Yeah, and just a quick comment on the gifting part you mentioned earlier. We have a very easy way to do it on our website. It just takes a couple of minutes, so you don't have to do that copy a DVD and
Yeah,
mail it and
exactly.
all of that. And it's high definition and so on. So yeah, we can make it really easy for you. So yeah, I'm working on a few different projects right now. It looks like my next one is going to be an action adventure movie dealing with themes of marriage and family, but set in the Western genre, and it's also set in Hawaii. And a lot of
Ah,
people don't know that there was cowboys in Hawaii before they were in Texas.
hey,
My
I'm from
parents know
Texas,
about
so those
that.
are fighting words. I was born and
Yeah,
raised there, so yeah.
exactly. So was my grandparents, and but it's true. And so there's a huge cowboy culture in Hawaii, and
Now that
so
shocks
we're
me. That really does. Because there's
yeah.
more. I thought there'd be more of a Hawaiian culture over here with our shirts. And I grew up in the '80s, and we had those Jams shorts, like it was a
Oh
brand
yeah.
name.
Yeah.
And yep, we all had Jams shorts because they were basically just Hawaiian shorts. But yeah,
Exactly. I think
uh,
I had a pair of them.
yeah. I mean, Magnum PI started it for all of us. Like, oh well, and I was noticing. Did you direct The Seeker?
I'm sorry.
Did you direct the movie The Seeker?
I did. I
My
did.
son is a huge fan of that movie. Um,
Oh
he's 24, and I was scrolling through like your information, like when I was getting ready for the interview yesterday, and he just glanced over my laptop, and he's like, "Are you getting that movie?" And I said, "No, why? What movie?" I didn't know what he was talking about. And so he like scrolled back and he's like, "No, The Seeker." And I said, "You watched that a long time ago." And he's like, "I love that movie." He's like, he's like, "Are you gonna download it?" And I said, "Well, I will, but and then I was like, I'll make sure this is the same guy." But I said, "I will tell him you love his movie because he did.
yeah. Thank
That
you.
was one
Thank
of his
you.
favorite movies." I was like, this is awesome. It's hard to please my kids. They're all in their 20s, so it's hit or miss whether or not they get impressed by much. But yeah,
I understand.
I've been in doing Christian like artist management and things like that total for about 20 years. So it basically most of their lives. So they're kind of like, you want to go meet Mandisa? Met her, been there. Like what when other kids would be like, yes, I can't wait to go. And like, well, my kids are long gone, and some of them and then it'll be somebody like, I tried to introduce my daughter to Britt Nicole about 2 or 3 years ago, and she's like, I don't know, I might. And then like 2 years later, she's like, oh my goodness, I totally discovered this new artist named Britt Nicole. And I'm like, you did not discover her, first of all, but do you not remember me trying to get you to meet her? But yeah, my son is a humongous Jim Caviezel fan. He only knows Matt Dillon because of The Outsiders. He did have to watch that in school. So he didn't think he
Well,
did.
that's great.
He thought he did nothing after that. I said no, he did a many more movies. So I'm an '80s person. So Jim Caviezel and Matt Dillon, those are huge actors for me, and they were just fantastic. And I think Ryan gave them a run for their money because he was a really great young actor. I'm hopeful to
Yeah,
see him in more things.
yeah, he's got a growing following, Ryan, and he was the lead voice in the Disney movie Big Hero 6 and the spin-off
No. Oh, now my
series.
son's
And
really gonna die. Like
yeah,
he loves
and
that
then
one.
and he's playing Beast Boy in the upcoming DC Comics
Are you
Teen Titans, and so
No.
he's got a growing following, and the girls seem to really
He
like
is
him,
adorable.
and yeah, we turned a lot of heads. But I hear you on the family thing. My wife was the makeup artist and hair on this movie. She's a professional makeup and hair person,
She's
and my
amazing.
kids were stand-ins and doubles, and so it's a real joy when you can pull in the family and kind of have them understand what you do and be a part of it, and
I love
they're
what she
looking
did
at what
with
they like.
Grace's hair a lot. Like
Yeah,
Grace, I mean, that was standout hair. Like, I mean, she did a really beautiful job with hers.
yeah.
Well,
I'll tell
with
her
all of
that
them. Yeah, she did an
like,
incredible. That's a big undertaking. I have been behind the scenes. I have friends that are paid film actors. I've been on set. I watched it come together. And doing hair and makeup is no joke because it's not like you just do it in the morning and it's all done. They just look good the rest of the film. I mean, it's a constant process, and it's very
yeah, in the
harrowing to
19,
take it all on.
exactly in the 1920s, had all these elaborate hairstyles
They were
that
different.
you'll see in
Yeah,
the
they
movie.
were
Yeah,
very different. Not everybody can do hair that's that era. So
yeah,
kudos to
exactly.
her. Well, I'm excited so they can just go to runforgracethemovie.com.
Running for Grace
Running for
movie,
Grace. Okay.
runningforgracemovie.com, or Running for Grace movie on Facebook,
Right.
and we'll share with you the where it's playing in theaters, and if it's not in theaters near you, not to worry. You can go to the iTunes link there and download it. And also, as I mentioned earlier, if you want to gift the movie to someone, we show you how to do that as well.
And that in itself is one of the coolest things about it. I love that. Well, it was a fantastic film. Thank you for making it and for making it about things that I would have never thought went on, like the racial issues that were going on in Hawaii at the time. And it just, it's good when a movie can teach you something about history as well as how have romance. And you have your antagonistic characters that are causing like the drama in between. And there's so many different elements to the story, very many layers. And that's what makes a movie really good when and you have so many layers, it doesn't really come off as a true love story or an action movie or, particular on anything else. But I would say too, the adoption thing was something that for me too, like stood out as one of the big themes as well. So I thought it was a very beautiful movie, and I'm just honored to talk to you. And thank you for making it. I've had an incredible time watching it.
Thank you, Ginger. Really appreciate your support and your listeners' support, and all the best to you.